Hey, converted man here. So, Atheist Nail made a video, and I was like, oh, hey, Atheist Nails is back, and she's making a video. That's great. And then this person called Atom Skeptic was posting it on. I was like, oh, who's this Atom Skeptic? I better check out his channel. And so I did, and I was like, oh my god, that's curiouser and more curiouser guy. But I was like, no, he's a different bald guy. Anyways, those two, they should make a video where they're together. So I'd be like, oh look, two bald people. Haha, that's cool. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So in Atom Skeptic's video, not in the video, like in the comments of the video, which is what I'm going to be talking about here. This guy called Zack. There's no possible way I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. Here's my attempt of doing so. Posted thing, and then I and other people had to respond to it because what he said was completely wrong. So then I thought, yeah, well, I'll invite him to my channel, which I did, But then I was like, well, I'm sure that Adam Skeptic would also talk to him. But in the meantime, I don't know. I just want to talk about what he posted and read it, and then explain how he's wrong in every conceivable way that a human could be wrong about everything. And then I want to live stream that and then share it with whoever might be like, oh, I'm bored. I'll watch Deconverted Man live stream, maybe, or listen to it, and so here I am. Anyways, so here we go. Zach, yes. So he says, uh, someone becomes an atheist for 5 reasons. Often, no luck, depression, and anxiety. Wants to be free to do sin, failure in love and family, didn't understand his own religion but refuses to seek the truth or find other religion. Wow, Zach. Well, thanks for reading my mind and everyone else's mind that ever was an atheist. And thanks for telling us the 5 reasons that we've all decided to be an atheist, including, I suppose, those that were born as an atheist. I mean, they never became an atheist, but they've always been an atheist. But then, so does this still apply to them? Do they become an atheist? When did they become an atheist? Since their, parents taught them, they didn't tell them God existed, so because of that, they never believed in God, and maybe they never encountered the idea of God until later, when they were an adult or maybe a teenager or whatever. Maybe people were saying, "Oh yeah, you go to church," and they knew about church, but they never went. And nobody really mentioned the word God. And as an adult, they heard the word God, and they're like, "What's God?" And they googled it, and they're like, "Oh, okay, that's weird." And, but did they become an atheist at that point? Does this list apply to them then? I don't know how any of this works, Zach. Please explain how this works for people that have been an atheist since birth. Or does it only apply to people that become an atheist? Well, it's almost like your list is incoherent, pulled out of your ass or something. Anyways, let me complain about it some more. So, number 1, no luck. There is no such thing as luck. Luck is a human construct that doesn't really exist. I got lucky when I got the bet that I placed. I won, so I beat the odds. So I'm lucky, and then you keep beating the odds, and so you keep being lucky, and then you cash in, and you're like, well, that was lucky, and then you're like, oh, I'll do a small bet on another roll of the dice because I feel lucky, but I'm gonna bet really small this time. Oh, I lost that roll. Oh man, wasn't it lucky that I only used a little amount of money this time? And isn't it lucky that I stocked? But I was unlucky in that roll. Yeah, so now I'm, luck. It's completely made up. There's no such thing as luck. Okay. Depression and anxiety. So let's say that this is true, which it's not, but let's just pretend that Zach is right. This is a reason that everyone everywhere ever became an atheist was because they were depressed and anxious. Okay. Would that negate the atheism? So let's say that you became any given belief system. Let's say you became a Hindu because you were depressed and like anxious, and that Hinduism made you feel less depressed and less anxious. Would that negate Hinduism? No. The reason that you go into or out of any given thing, whether it be a political ideology, a belief system, I don't know what sports team you like best or whatever, I don't know, has nothing to do with whether the thing is valid or invalid. So even if it was the case, and it's not, that every human that ever became an atheist did so because they were depressed and anxious, that wouldn't negate the outcome. And also, wait a minute, why are they depressed and anxious if they're supposedly already in atheism? That is, not in atheism, in a, oh wow, there needs to be a comma there, in atheistic belief, so they already believe in a God, then why would they ever get depressed or anxious? Hmm, unless that, see, unless that belief was making them depressed and anxious. So they said, believing in God is making me depressed, and I keep having anxiety attacks, and I'm gonna go to hell no matter what I do. And maybe I should just give up on this whole idea. Huh. And then they become an atheist. So actually, if that was true, that would actually show that religion was a bad thing. And so you're leaving it is a good thing. So becoming an atheist because religion made you depressed or anxious. Oopsie. I guess that's not what you meant. I think what you meant to say was that, well, that's why. Anyways, number three, want to be free to do sin. Well, Zach, I know you don't know anything, but I got to educate you a bit. Sin is a construct of certain religion, in this case, Christianity. Things like sin might appear in other religions, but primarily you'll find sin to be with an idea in Christianity. Here's the problem: if they were in a different religion, let's say Muslim doesn't really have sin. They have like kind of, I guess they kind of have sin. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about Muslims because I don't know the least one. Okay, Hinduism. Let's stick with that. I know that they don't have sin. So if you were a Hindu, right? So you believed in many gods, and you believed in reincarnation and karma and all this, but they don't have the sin concept. They have karma, and but that's not sin, right? So then they deconverted and they became a jaded skeptic like I am, or maybe they just became a normal skeptic. They weren't jaded, but at any rate, or maybe they just became an atheist. Maybe they aren't a skeptic, but at any rate, um, they wouldn't have the concept of sin, so therefore they couldn't want to be free of it because they don't have it. But then this is incoherent because let's say that I was a Christian, right? So I believed in sin. I'm already free to do sin because I can just ask to be forgiven. And then I am forgiven. So why would I ever stop being a Christian? I can keep sinning and just keep getting forgiven. Anyways, it's incoherent. Number four, failure in love and family. Well, come on. Now you're just being mean. So what? That are you saying? But again, now, so you're saying that as a theist, I failed in my love and loving relationships, and that my family, I failed in that, whatever that means. I guess it fell apart or whatever. Well, man, the religion sure didn't help, did it? Man, where was God during all that? Why didn't they help me with that relationship? Why didn't they help me to keep the family together? Hmm. I guess I'll stop being a Christian because, oh, okay, let's say this. I had a girlfriend, and she had this issue of kissing. Like, oh, you kissed me, and it makes me think of uh, things, and I shouldn't think of those things. And I'm like, but I really enjoy kissing you, and this is how I show love and affection, and okay, I guess we'll do other things like, like, and it's like, oh well, and then like her parents don't like me because what? I'm causing her stress, but that stress is being caused by religion. So like, but that failed as a relationship because of religion. So and then I'm like, well, because of that, I guess I'll just deconvert, right? Like, why would that? Or maybe like, what if he's like, you know what? I realize that if I stop being this religion, then all this goes away. I can think whatever I want, and it won't be bad to think about it, you know. And so then again, you're just showing that religion is bad. You're not showing that deconverting is bad. You're showing that religion is bad. Anyways, number five didn't understand their own religion and also refused to seek the truth or find other religion. Oh, because religion is the answer, I guess. But what about Buddhism? There's no God in Buddhism. So, like, what if I'm a Buddhist? I could be a Buddhist atheist. But then how would that work? Like, so I'm already, like, say, I'm part of a religion. I'm Buddha religion. So I have plenty of truth in that, and I understand it, but I'm also an atheist. So your little list here becomes completely and utterly incoherent, more than it already was. And your stupid little idea that's completely dumb and idiotic, dumb and a poopy head idea that's also wrong, logically speaking, in every conceivable way that it could be wrong, fails and falls apart because guess what? Buddhism is a religion without God necessarily. You can have God in Buddhism, but God's not really a thing in Buddhism per se. So yeah, the number five just doesn't really necessarily seem to apply. And also, you are assuming that people don't understand their own religion. Actually, what's funny about that is atheists tend to understand Christianity better than Christians, and more about it, more of the history and stuff. Um, and also that that other religions as well, like the non-religious people will tend to know more about those things, usually because we're debating them, but also we're able to actually learn the reality of these things. Because like, if you're a Mormon, you can't learn all the things about Mormonism. You have to pretend or ignore that, a lot of the stuff about it. It's like how many times their book has changed. You can't acknowledge that as a Mormon, you know? So, not really. Or Scientology. Oh my word, how many things do you have to ignore to be a to do that? Before you get to the whole Xeno part, you've already gone through all this nonsense, so that your cognitive dissonance is such that when you get to the Xeno part, that you're ready to believe it. Uh, but if you knew that going in, or you're like, no, no, I already know all the Xeno stuff. I just want to, let's talk about that. That's what I'm interested in. Like they'd probably not even accept you because like that's not how their religion works, and that's not how they get you in and keep you in. I don't know. Maybe they would. I don't know. They don't care as long as you give them money. Probably. Yeah, but yeah, not understanding your own religion. But again, then that's a flaw in religion, isn't it? Like, why didn't I understand my own religion? Maybe because it was not very understandable. Maybe because it was boring. Maybe but that would be religion's fault. And then the truth, like refusing to seek the truth. Like I sought the truth. That's why I deconverted. Oops. But you mean truth, like the truth that you want, like not like the thing that you think is true, or find other religion. Well, but again, why is religion the thing? If I found no, if I didn't understand this religion, and I don't, what good is it do you for me to find a different religion than the one that you happen to hold? Like, I'm not, so it's just dumb. It's just dumb, Zach. Come on, Zach. Come on. Anyways, so then Atomic Skeptic is just like, I hope you're not serious. And then he's like, what's the purpose of your existence? If you don't have a purpose for being on Earth, then you are dot 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 dot. Well, what's the purpose of exist? I don't know. What the bleep? What? What does that have to do with your stupid list? Like he said, are you serious? and you didn't say yes or no that you were serious. Instead, you said this other question. Answer his question first. He asked you a question. He said, well, or he didn't actually ask a question, but he said a statement, and then you don't respond to that statement. You're like, no, I am serious. By the way, what's the purpose of your existence? Like, Zach, you're having a conversation with no one at this point. What are you doing? I don't understand. Also, then you went on like you went dot dot dot. What does dot 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 mean? What are you talking about here? Well, why aren't you? What do you mean if you don't have a purpose for being here on Earth? Then you are what? What is it that dot dot dot's supposed to be? What do you mean? What's going on here, Zach? Can you explain it to me? I'm confused, Zach. Please explain it to me. Okay. Oh, they've got more stuff. They have more stuff for me to read. This is great. More stuff just came in live. I'm gonna tell Zach right now. Hey Zach. Hey Zach. I'm live right now talking. Oops. About your post. You can join me if you want. All right. So, anyways, let's see if he joins in. I doubt it. But well, anyways, okay. So what was it? Oh, so and then Atomic Skeptic answers the question of what his purpose on Earth is, which is for him to provide for his family, teach his kids how to think critically, be good people, communicate scientifically accurate information. Those may be common misconceptions because I don't believe in a God. Doesn't mean I have no purpose. Another misconception I'll have to cover apparently. It didn't tag you, but I responded. Yeah, well, because you didn't add them, but then you tagged them. What's the difference between life and a pencil? A pencil has a point. The fuck are you? What? Not necessarily. Like, some pencils don't have a point until you sharpen them. And, I mean, it's dumb. It's just a dumb thing. Like, do you have an actual point to make? Sir, no, so again, instead of answering the question, answer the question, Zach. Did you have an actual point to make? No, is the answer. No. Sir, we're not humans having spiritual experience. We're spirits having a human experience. What? Okay, whatever. If you say so, Zach. Sure, why not? I mean, if you want to believe that, we're spirits having a people experience. What? What does that? What does that mean? What? Why? Why would that be the way it? That makes the whatever. Um. So Anyways, so I guess that was his point: is that we're actually spirits having a human experience. That's his point. But then how does that give your life a point? Like, is your spirit a pencil? Like, what is this your point? I don't know. Anyway, so he asks if you have evidence of a soul then. And then Zach doesn't answer that question and instead says we're spiritual beings having an earthly appearance. Then we go home, fire or heaven, you choose. So he didn't answer the question that, do you have evidence of a soul? No is the answer to that. Zach doesn't have evidence of that. But instead of answering the question, he just makes another statement. So, and then this person, goat among sheep, it's like sometimes the Chocobot posts that are easier. Children are born as atheists until they're trained to be irrational. Leave a child alone without indoctrination or dogma. The child is atheist forever, if atheist is the correct term, or until someone well-meaning fool indoctrinates him. Now, if an atheist could lack a belief, oh my God, this is longer than I thought it was. Uh, Whatever. Anyways, he said words. I don't. I'm mostly focusing on Zach. So I'm sorry. I'm not. But then I'll make Goat among sheep feel bad if I don't read his whole thing. Oh, okay, whatever. The TypeScript is a necessary term to describe things. What term do we use? Anyways, personally, I believe that anyone who wants to criticize should be familiar with the religion in several of its forms. Otherwise, you're a little better than evangelist. A good student should read the room with Christians. Okay, I read it. But I didn't read it out loud, so I guess I'll be upset at me. Whatever. You can thumb down my video. But then again, that assumes they'll actually listen or watch this video. I don't know. I've never seen Go to Monk Sheep in my thing, so who knows? Anyways, good among sheep. If you think Christianity was corrupted, then find another religion. God is real. So it doesn't matter what religion you have. Just find one because you got to have God, and God is only in religion, right? Like, I wonder if this comment's from Zach. Please be no, it's from Atom Skeptic loving my comment. Okay, so that's cool. Maybe he'll join me. I don't know. He can come too. I don't care. I'll talk to him about this post that Zach made. Anyway, so Adam, Zach, my brain hurts now. Is said that's not evidence of a soul. That's just your unsupported opinion. Correct. He didn't actually give any evidence of a soul. He just asserted that we're spiritual beings, and then that you choose fire or heaven. But then, but then, if that's the case, then you're gonna go to fire if you didn't find something in Christianity. What again with the message? What is this? Uh, oh, okay. Oh, well, he's wow. Adam just let him have it right there. That you cyanide fucktards always trying to talk shit about you don't understand at all. That's my life experience with you and your fellows. Oh, pwned. By the way, I'm live streaming my reading of this whole thing right now. Walls. Anyways, it'll be funny like when he comes in and like he doesn't see anything. Oh, what was that? Where was I? So then Zach responded to get him on sheep. If you think, oh yeah, I already spread that part. Sorry, my part. Anyway, so Adam was like, it's not evident. Everyone, by the way, keeps calling Adam T. I don't know why, but I don't know. Anyways, that's your just it's an opinion. The carrot of an imaginary reward and the stick of imaginary punishment to elect fear of the unknown, and through that fear compliance. Try again. Atheist. How would you feel if you died to discover that hereafter was a lie? Me. Not worse than when you die and discover that hereafter is the truth. The fuck? How is that even a response to? Oh, hey, there he is. See, Adam, I got him here. Like I summoned him. Look at this. It's amazing. I made him come here. Now he's here. Don't talk bad about him anymore. Like pretend. No, I never said anything bad about him. Like nobody can prove that. It's not in the video. That's why they can't prove it. Anyways, he's here. LOL. Okay, so I read the thing. Where was it? Oh fuck. Where was I? Okay, right. So Zach, like, okay, so Adam said it's not evidence of assault, right? So here's the line of train of thought that like you derailed in your brain. 'Cause maybe you don't. I don't even think he has a train. Like he doesn't have tracks. Like a hamster on a wheel, but the wheel is broken and the hamster is dead. I don't know what's in his head at this point. No, that rhymed. I didn't even think that it would rhyme. That was kind of cool. That was a total mistake. Anyways, so he said that's not evidence of a soul, which is right. Like give evidence of a soul, or do something, give an argument, do try something, like be in the conversation that's going on, right? But instead of that, he's like, hey, I like peanut butter and jelly. Huh? What? What's that got to do with anything? Shut up. I want to talk about this now. But what about the evidence? No, the evidence you're asking for, I'm not going to give you that. I don't have it. I'm not going to admit that I don't have it. Anyways, how would you feel if you died discovered the hereafter life? Oh yeah, well you're gonna see that you're wrong. Oh yeah, well no, you're gonna see that you're wrong. You're gonna see that you're wrong. Okay, whatever, dude. Okay, you can have that pretend debate in your head for all the time you want, but how about you respond to Atom Skeptic, Zach? Why aren't you doing that? If it was me, I'd be like, well, Adam, here's evidence of a soul. I'd be like, okay, here's an argument at least for a soul. Like I'd be like, well, um, that each of us is a unique being, and can express things in an artistic manner, seems to transcend the boundaries of the materialistic framework that we seem to be stuck in, at least to some extent, and therefore that seems to be that some sort of thing that we can't really, maybe you want to call it consciousness, but I think it's beyond consciousness, and that would be the soul. Okay, it's not a very good argument, granted. There's some holes, and I didn't make it a syllogism, okay, but at least I got the building blocks there. At least I'm interacting with them. But no, Zach's on this other tangent because red herring. Anyways, He says, "Cool story, bro. Got any evidence of an afterlife, or is that like you believe, or the whatever?" That's how Adam talks now. He's at the end of every sentence. That's not really how Adam talks, so I'm gonna pretend like that because he's in my chat right now. He says it's part of the video. That's people see in the comments where they said true run to. Oh, I see, I see. That's why they were saying T. I thought T was like your name, and so I was confused. So anyways, what do I say? Oh, right. Nope. So, oh yeah, right. Since human, Whee! Since human beings have a natural emotion which is gratitude. Wait, what? Since human beings have a natural emotion which is gratitude, we have a natural emotion which is we do? Like what? What does that mean? Natural emotion? What? Natural? What the fuck? To whom are we to be grateful? Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying like we have gratitude towards something, and then who are we being grateful to, or what? Or like, well, first you would have to prove that this is true, Zach, which you're not going to, because I mean, we know that Zach's not going to prove anything he says at all. He's not even going to try. We know that already. You know, so uh we know that that's the case. That if Adam and I both responded to Zach with meow 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 meow, I'm a cat, he would continue to talk about his own beliefs. It wouldn't matter at all. We could say anything. It wouldn't matter. Zach's having his own conversation at this point. So we're pretending that humans have this gratitude in general, like what, all the time, and then that because we have gratitude in this vague sense, that then we must have something to be grateful towards, and the thing that we are grateful toward is God. I mean, it sounds like he read some C.S. Lewis, or read something that somebody posted about C.S. Lewis, where like the Christ whole or whatever. He's like, but he didn't remember exactly what it said, so he had to make it this instead. That's what it seems like to me. But maybe I'm giving. You know what? I think that's giving Zach way too much high of a bar. I think maybe this is just like, we have this gratitude. Where's gratitude come from? It must be God. Well, everything's God. I just did a video talking about how Pete proves God. Anyways, um, so who are you grateful to? Well, my answer would be whoever it is that I'm grateful to. Like, okay, somebody brings me food. Thanks, person that brought me the food. Also, thanks for the person that made that prepared the food, and and thanks to the person. Let's say I go to a restaurant, right, and I really want, man, I'm just feeling like I'm in a thankful mood. I better check chat. I said T in chat because he said to say T because I'm a true, yeah, well, I'm a true skeptic, so I'm a TS. Ooh, that sounds anyway, anyways, all right. What do I say? Oh, right. So I'll go to the restaurant. I'm like, oh, thank you. Well, which I can't do because it's C19. But let's pretend that doesn't exist right now. I'll like go to the restaurant. Hey, thanks for giving me the food, waiter. Hey, by the way, I'd like to thank the chef. Get up. Where's the chef? Can I thank them? Like, I'll just wave at them in the window and say, hey, thanks, chef. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Hey, thanks, chef. Thanks for making that food and stuff. And oh, hey, who's the delivery dude? I want to thank them because they brought the food here. Oh, hey, thanks, delivery dude. Oh, by the way, I want to thank the farmer for planting and growing crops and raising the various cows and stuff that were, and the butcher for killing the cow. And I want to thank them. Man, I got a lot of people to thank. At what point during any of that is there room for a deity? Honestly, if I grow my own vegetables and I pull them from the ground and I cook them up or whatever, or I wash them off and eat them. If you cook them without washing them, probably a bad idea. But anyways, then I think me because I did that, and maybe I could thank the person I bought the seeds from or whatever. I don't know, but it's me. I did that. I did that work. So I thank myself, right? What do I need to thank anything else for? It's stupid. Anyways, the person who gives us something. Yes, exactly. He even answers his own question. Like what? Oh man. But what if you find a nice load of money just sitting on the sidewalk? Uh, that'd be cool. I probably look around to see if anyone had dropped it. I would, try to get like call if I had a phone, I'd call like the police and tell them that I found money here and wait for them to show up because it might be part of a drug deal or it goodness knows it might, have drugs on it or something. Anyways, but then he just says, of course, your first emotion would be shock and joy. Well, no, actually, my first emotion would be trepidation and nervousness. So, but okay, go ahead with your story. But to who and what would you be grateful for that money being there? Whoever dropped it, I guess, or like maybe they planted it there as a social experiment, or maybe they dropped it and they really need it. So my effort in calling the police to get them to come and get the money and hold on to the money and like maybe I could put a little ad in the paper. Amount of money found if you can identify how much money there was, it's at the police station waiting for you. If you could say where it was lost, and describe the location or where you think it might have been lost, then they'll give it to you. And if nobody claims it with a certain amount of time, then it's yours. Actually, I have a story like that, but it's different. I found these really nice headphones once in the computer lab, and I looked around and I didn't see anybody that had I was like, somebody leave these behind. No, no, nobody answered. So I went to the campus police thing that wasn't really they were just volunteers. But I went to them and I handed them the headphones. I said I found them in the computer lab. And then it was like, okay, in however many weeks, whatever it was that they would wait, then I could come and claim them. So I waited and whatever. And then I went and said, hey, so those headphones still here? Like, yeah. I'm like, well, I guess they didn't, they're mine now. Okay, right? So I tried, you know, but what are you gonna do? So but but the effort is important because without that, like maybe that was somebody's rent. You don't know. Anyways, we can't be moral or even have a stable read more. Moral compass without something simple as gratitude. Sure we can. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Like, what ethical system requires gratitude as a fundamental basis of it? Like, you what? This is incoherent. Uh, who should we be grateful to in this scenario? The person that dropped the money again. Like, you already answered your own question. Like, what? Jeez. We can't be grateful to thin air. Sure, you could. Life without gratitude most certainly results in a depressing one, need since we fundamentally need gratitude for mental health. We do? According to whom? Is there a study that shows that that's the case? What proof of that is there? Oh, right. It's not going to prove anything, is it? This is why it's so important to find things to be thankful for. Is it? And why? And even if that is the case, Atom Skeptic already outlined things that he was thankful for earlier by telling you what his purpose in life was. Didn't you pay any attention to any of that, Zach? No, you didn't. Okay. Um. So and then of course Adam tells him he's wrong. Um. If somebody lost their money, it'd be immortal. Keep it. See, you said the same thing I just said. That's funny. Since it did does harm to whoever it belongs to. We can't function as a society to screw over everyone's strong pressure and self-esteem to be altruistic. No, God needed. Like someone 1,000 years ago who didn't believe that it would ever be possible to fly to the moon in 3 days, talk to Earth while there, then return alive. That would have also been a logical human, wouldn't it? Okay, I'm convinced that Zach is on a different universe than the rest of us. I believe now that Zach has proven the multiverse theory to be true. Okay, so although it appears, for whatever reason, that Zach is commenting on Atom Skeptic's video, it's actually the case that He is posting on a completely different video and having a totally different conversation with somebody else that happens to also be named Atom Skeptic, but in that parallel universe. But for whatever reason, Zach's responses are being copied to this universe's YouTube section, and they're appearing as a response to Atom Skeptic, even though they're not actually responses to him at all. No, Zach is responding to somebody else and some other conversation because Zach's responses are nothing even closely tangentially related to what Adam is saying to him. This is incoherent times a million. I don't even know what times it is. My God, Zach, respond to the thing that was said. You're just talking about being altruistic and you're talking about your own thing that you just made, and then he's bringing up this another red herring. What does this have to do with anything? So 1,000 years ago, somebody didn't believe that it would be possible to fly to the moon. Period. End of story. Not even amount of time required. Would that person have been logical? Yes, in a way. If all they had was the technology available to them, and somebody was like, "Ah, we can fly to the moon." Well, no, we can't, not right now. Well, we'll never fly to the moon. Now that would be illogical, but based on the situation and society they have, it might be illogical within the framework that they understand. It depends on how you view logic. I would say it would be illogical, but that person wouldn't know it was illogical. It would be, maybe you could say it'd be reasonable to an extent given the society and the technology they have. Also, they might not even know that you could fly to the moon because they wouldn't necessarily know that that's a thing that you can do at all. But let's just say that. Okay, yeah, they might be reasonable or logical depending on how you view it, and saying, yeah, that's not a thing. We can't do that. We can't fly to the moon. We can't we can't talk to Earth from the moon. That doesn't make any sense. How could we ever do that? Of course, there's multiple fallacies in there. So again, in that sense, they wouldn't be logical. Uh, but that scenario, if we were to place the skeptic in that scenario who knew logic at the time, and their person say, "Hey, wait a minute, you know, you just said we can't ever go to the moon. How do you know that?" Well, I don't know that. Of course you don't. Today we can't, granted, but that doesn't mean eventually one day we couldn't. Yeah, okay, right? So it's possible that we could one day do it. We won't be alive to see it, but it's possible that humanity could do it. That would be the more logical person, but that person hasn't been written into your scenario. Nonetheless, what does that have to do with anything, Zach? I guess what Zach is desperately trying to reach for is to say the skeptic, which isn't, by the way, a true, well, don't want to say true skeptic, TS, but the skeptic, the person that understood logic back in those days or whenever you want to put him, could have potentially worked out the logical fallacies in this idea. Uh, but Aristotle's teachings, I don't know how widespread they were 1,000 years ago. I suppose it's where it would be based on where you lived or whatever. But I guess what Zach is trying to say is that because you could be a skeptic uh, about something that we know is true today, that therefore being a skeptic is incoherent. Maybe that's what Zach is trying to say, and that's like giving the most charitable impression possible. He kept running off on random tangents. Exactly. Yeah. All right. So Adam says, I don't know what the leap you're talking about. You know, I'm not seeing the relevance of a guy. Blah, blah, blah. Remember, I said that or whatever. God. Part of the joke that I'm trying to do that I keep screwing up is that Adam Skeptic will say blah, blah, blah in his things, even though he's never said that as far as I know. And then, like, in his next video, because I've done this whole thing and Adam likes what I'm doing, maybe he'll be like, "Oh, by the way, blah, blah, blah," at the end of the video, and I'll be like, "Ah, he did the thing," and I'll laugh, and nobody else will understand it but me, and I'll love him. Anyways, but if he doesn't do that, I'll still enjoy him, maybe, but I won't love him. So, that's just the consequence. What the hell am I talking about? Anyway, so they didn't know. Yeah, he said basically. So then here's me telling him that there's no such thing as luck and asking for a citation over and over again, and then explaining those things, and then he had a different conversation with Atom Skeptic, uh, and then oh man, this is, oh god, here we go. Since the universe has ordered and is governed by the laws of science, that's not exact. Okay, God, Zach, no, that's not like, no, it's not governed by the laws of science. Okay, it's that we have the laws of science that explain how the universe works. They're not like laws like you don't run a red light. Like, it's not, you got it backwards. Anyways, we should question how this order came about. Uh sure. The most effective way to answer this question is to reason to the best conclusion. Not necessarily because reason, as good as it is and as interesting as it is, still need to make a video on what reason is. Uh, um, what reason is? What am I saying? What reason is a whole nother category. But a video. What? Oh, man. There we go. Thanks, Adam. I just saw he said more stuff. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, exactly. He gave you ammo, man. But be sure to say be sure to do the thing. Anyways, what am I saying? Oh, right. Sorry, everybody. All right. Oh, reason. Right. Reason on itself, isolated, isn't necessarily a way to get to any conclusion, let alone the best conclusion. Reason is useful, but the problem is you're limited to what you know. So you mentioned the going to the moon thing, right, Zach? I know you're not listening to this, and you never will, but oh well, I don't care. Here's the thing: how do you get to the moon? A rocket ship, okay? How do you build a rocket ship? Metal and rockets and fuel? Like, yeah, okay, but how? Like, there's no way. You couldn't explain the whole thing, right? Neither could I, because I'm not a rocket scientist. Neither are you, Zach. So it's complicated, right? And so that's not something that you could just go, I'll reason that out. You'd have to actually study it and learn about it, and you and then, like, the nature of how things are, like molecules. You can't reason out that molecules exist. You have to do careful observation and study to even get to the point where you could make the idea that there might be a thing like molecules. Uh, and that's, like, there's this video I really love. I've brought it up a couple times, but they drop a slinky and in slow motion. Now I thought the slinky would just, they extended the slinky first and then they dropped it. Now I thought that the whole thing would just fall to the ground. That was my reason. But actually, turns out the slinky collapses in on itself first and then it falls to the ground. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I never thought it would do that. That's cool. Because my intuition is insufficient to get to the correct conclusion. So, on its own, reason by itself without any other info is useless. And, well, and again, I'm assuming that Zach is talking about the reason that I'm thinking about. But again, I'm giving Zach way too much credit, probably. Um, so getting to the conclusion, let alone the best conclusion, is not something that you could do with reason alone, nor could you do it with logic alone, because if you're going to use logic, you would have to then check in with reality to see if your premises are true. And if you didn't see that that was the case, well, how would you do that? Because of epistemology. And there you go. Anyways, take your mobile phone, for example. Your phone is made of glass, plastic, and metal. Glass comes from sand, plastic comes from oil, metal is extracted from the ground. Imagine you're, oh god, is he doing the phone thing? Oh, he did. He did. Fuck you. I'm not reading the rest of that. The phone thing, okay? The phone thing. The watchmaker argument. And it's funny to me at least. I just did a video where I used P to prove God, quote unquote, right? So Atom Skeptic didn't watch that video. Now he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? I can't stop this live stream to watch your video because that would be rude. I want to hear you making fun of Zach because he's probably getting a big kick out of this." I don't know if he heard the part where I said he was bald. Like I didn't say he was bald like in a bad way or anything. I'm just saying like I noticed it and I pointed it out. It's fine to be bald. It's perfectly normal to be bald. There's nothing wrong with being bald. But anyways, I don't know how I got off on that tangent. I blame who is it? Zach. Yes, I blame Zach for that. Zach, who has not yet once screamed out Mastodon. So I'm really upset with Zach. Also, he hasn't or at least say timeout and like everybody else's freezes. But then you'd be saved by the bell. Anyways, speaking about bell, be sure to hit the bell and subscribe and like the video. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, well, oh, that there again, Atom Skeptic said, the blah 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 part. That was his fault. Because he always says that in every video. But anyways, okay, so the watchmaker argument, everything would be a watch in that argument. The beats would also be a watch. The video I just did about the P proving God, the everything would be designed. You couldn't point out the thing that was designed because everything is designed. So you couldn't make the comparison that you want to make. And then there's another problem with this, which has been pointed out, but it's worth pointing out, is that there's rocks that look like faces. And they look like faces because our brains are really good at putting faces where they aren't. Okay? So the the thing is, you could say, "Oh, this is um designed to be a certain way," or you could say it looks designed, but that doesn't mean it is designed. Here we go. I found the thing. Let me bring that up. Okay, so here we go. All right, so here we go. So here, now this rock here looks like a face. Look, I see the eye, I see the nose, I see like the beard or a chin. Looks like a guy. Looks like a face. Was that designed to be that way? No. And if you looked at it from a different angle, it would probably stop looking like a face pretty quickly because it wasn't carved by people. It was carved by nature. But under the idea that, well, how could this come about unless it was designed with the watchmaker argument? You would have to conclude that this face was made by God or some other intelligent agent. And this is like with people do this with the pyramids and Stonehenge and such, where they're like, well, this is too advanced for people to do. It had to be aliens. So you really have to be aware that the argument of the watchmaker is completely and wholly broken, which is what my last video where I talk about P proving God is kind of referencing. If everything proves God, then then you don't. Everything is an argument for God, and there's nothing that doesn't prove God. And there's no comparison to make between the watch and the other stuff because the other stuff's also designed. So you can't make the comparison. Anyway, so then Zach responds to me in a completely incoherent way that see, the problem is I didn't read Zach's other posts until just now, so I only read the ones that were directed at me, and so I didn't know that Zach was living in his own universe. But now that I do, oops. Anyways, he says you like to call yourself free thinkers, but according to your worldview, wow, worldview? What the hell is worldview? I blame the what's his name, Atom, for this. That's who I blame. I blame wait, what is it? Yeah, exactly. Yes, the face on Mars. Yeah, that people saw was the face. And the funny thing about that, Adam, is that when you zoomed out, you just saw, more rocks, and it didn't even look like a face. You had to zoom in to find it. It's like, oh, look at this, it's our face. Like, yeah, well, and then like Pluto has a giant heart shape on it. You know, so that must have been put there just so that we know that God loves us, right? Um. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, right. You like to call yourself free thinkers, but according to your worldview, your thought is a result of chemical reactions. So how is it free thinking when your brain is only abiding by the laws of chemistry? Question mark. Dot dot dot. Huh? Well, first of all, you assume that I like to call myself a free thinker. Well, I don't. I call myself a skeptic and amateur logician, but not free thinker. I mean that is a label. I just don't use it for myself, Zach. But you've decided that you know what I think, and you also know what my worldview is. Apparently, uh, thought is a result of chemical reactions. Okay, well, thought is the result of chemical reactions. And that's true whether there's a God or not. And that's not because it's part of my worldview. It's just that's what science has discovered. Uh, Although there's electrical signals as well, so it's electrochemical. So it's both. Um, is it just that? I don't know. Could it be more? I don't know. Maybe. I don't. I have no idea. Um, but I know that that's something we can know for sure is that thought is a combination of electrochemical processes, uh, and that's what science has shown us. I cannot say that it's anything more because I have no evidence that it is, nor can I say that it's not anything more because I don't know that that's the case. It might be all there is, or it might not be, but I would need some sort of empirical evidence or repeatable test or a valid and sound argument to be able to agree with the conclusion that it's more than these things. I would need some system that could demonstrably demonstrate that there's an extra thing going on. Anyways, so how is it free thinking when your brain is only abiding by the laws of chemistry? So you're mixing up the metaphor here. So a free thinker calls themselves that, I don't know, for whatever reason, but they what it means or how they mean it seems from person to person. So I can only say how I view the word free thinker, which is somebody that is, well, free to think about anything. They don't have to be worried about what it is they're thinking that will hurt God's feelings or something like this, right? So the fact that they call themselves that is independent from whether or not determinism is a thing. Now, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe and that's what the word you're looking for, Zach, is determinism, which is that every word I'm saying right now has been predetermined by my genetic, chemical makeup and my the things that I experience in life. So even though it seems like I'm saying things from my perspective and that I'm coming up with these words, the truth is there I was always going to say this no matter what. Now, if that's the case, and I'll leave that to the neurologists to figure out, then that's the way it is. And appealing to a consequence changes nothing. Calling yourself a free thinker would we would simply change how that how we define that. If it, um, but it still would be the case. It's like, well, my predisposed position of genetics allows me to think about anything that that's out there that I'm able to think about and not worry about bothering God with my thoughts because I'm questioning if there is or isn't a God or whatever it is I'm thinking about, you know. So and besides, I don't have any choice but to think about those things anyways. So there you go. And so there's many ways to view this that are nuanced. Um, but of course, that would be asking you to think deeply about things, Zach. So, you know, no, people were going on about that. We got high resolution conspiracy. We bombed it to destroy the face. We bombed it. Of course, we bombed it. Yeah, destroy the face. Why would we bomb oh, he said more. Oh God, he said more. If your thoughts and I determine blah blah, same thing. So if it's you, then which part of you? If you say brain, then who's controlling your brain? Since the brain abides, you're that's not, you're assuming that there's a who. This question assumes that there is a who. It cannot answer the malformed loaded question because it assumes the conclusion. There is no who. It's just the brain. The brain is me. I'm my brain. But having said that, I'm also more than my brain, but only kind of. Now, I'm no biologist or neurologist or psychologist. I'm an amateur logistician at best, okay? I remember reading and hearing things, so take this with a ton of salt, okay? Your spinal cord is, and your nerve endings are very are to some extent important to your brain, and the the rest of your body is also important to your brain. So they have seen with people that like lose a limb, they have phantom pain in that arm that's not there anymore. And now they've done things where, and they do this thing where they brush a brush on the hand, and then they have a fake hand, and then eventually they hammer the fake hand, and you respond as if it's your real hand. So what they did is they used that idea on people with phantom pain, and they brush their hand that's there, and then they have like a fake arm that they look at, and then they say, "Does this arm hurt?" And they say no, and then does this arm hurt? No, even though there is no arm. And then their brain's like, oh, the pain's not there. Because the brain thinks that there's an arm there, even though there isn't an arm there. So it's like they trick the brain into releasing the idea that there was a pain in the arm that wasn't there by giving them an arm and showing them that it didn't hurt. Something like that. Okay. If you want me to dig through and find the dang thing that said that, I'll try to do it. But let me know in the comments below once this is an actual video. Um, and if you don't, then I won't do it because I'm lazy. But at any rate, so that was to some extent part of that. So if you were just a brain and they were able to keep that alive, that would probably, since you would still be aware, you'd probably be different in some way because you wouldn't be able to see or talk or smell or anything else. You would know that you existed, but who knows if that would drive you insane or what that would feel like or be like. Or if you would just panic or you'd have phantom body, it'd be extraordinarily complicated. So you're a bit more than your brain in that sense, but I don't know how much of that is true. But you are essentially your brain. So this duality that Zach is trying to talk about, but he doesn't know what duality is, so he can't really talk about it. This idea of the mind body or mind brain split is one that's just a philosophical idea. that's confusing and incoherent. You are your brain. You are your body. You are that. And are you more than that? Well, if your brain is more than just your brain and to some extent your body, maybe, but I don't see any evidence for it. Maybe I could say to some extent I'm also my environment because my environment is constantly giving me input that becomes part of my thoughts, or I'm breathing in particles that become part of my body or something like that. In fact, I've said this about mortality that when somebody goes, there eventually the bits of them will be in the air. You know that if let's say they were buried, eventually that you know the the dirt and soil will grab on to bits of them and grow into grass, and then that grass will excrete into the air, and so some particle of them will fly around the world in the atmosphere, and maybe you will inhale it, and so a piece of them becomes part of you for a while. And even while we're alive, a piece of me eventually will become part of you. Now, does that help us to feel better about mortality? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Uh, but in that way, we're all connected. And we're part of the universe. And we are the universe in that sense, in a very real sense. In a real sense that's more real than God and magic and all these sort of things that I understand that people believe them because I used to believe that. I totally do. I get it. You know, it's part of being human, perhaps, is to believe in weird things. But nonetheless, to accept that the amazing things that we can actually know about, that's better to me. That's more, for lack of a better word, spiritual. To recognize that in a sense, as Neil deGrasse Tyson said, we're the universe's way of knowing about itself, or somebody else might have said that. I don't know. But at any rate, I'm waffling on, and now I've hit an hour, so I guess Graveyard just got weirder breathing dead people. Yeah, well, I breathe dead people. Um, yeah, and if they were what do you call it? Cremated, then it's even faster, probably. We as for me, I'm donating all my organs, and I want my brain donated to science in hopes that science will then plug my brain into an android so I can live again as a cyborg or something. But then I might regret that. But oh well, I'm gonna do it anyways because why do I care? Um, I think I'm done for now. If you want me to continue to waffle on about this at a different time, please let me know in the comments. Thank you, Atom Skeptic, for joining me in this insane thing that I did. Uh, he said that he will do the thing that I said that he does all the time, which he doesn't do, but now he's going to because I said that he did. Yes, it will be a thing. He'll be like, no, but like he did the thing, and then like it'll be cool. Anyway, so like, comment, subscribe, do the things. Check out Adam. Press T. I don't know what T is. That's his name. All right. Good night, everybody. I'll be back later, maybe. Bye. Oh, and Adam, if you want to email me and we do the thing, let me know. Whatever. Okay. Please continue covering this. No, I can't do that unless you comment it. No, look, it doesn't count here. Okay. Like it only counts if you post it as a comment when this is a video, like on YouTube. It doesn't count in the chat. So that's how that works. And then that, oh, that was a person here in real life just hurt themselves. And they're saying ow. I'm mocking them. Ha ha ha. Anyways, I'm sorry. What am I doing? Oh, right. I was gonna end the broadcast. I'll do more later maybe. Anyways, bye. Okay, I'm done. Finn, hit the button. Hit the button. Hit the button. No, wait, lobsters. I forgot to mention lobsters. Shut up. Hit the button. Okay, I'm hitting the button. Bye for now.